All right, everybody, welcome back to the number one television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be ranking in order from my least favorite to my favorite all the Quentin Tarantino movies that I have in my collection. There's 10 of them. And I love all of them. Let's start with I love all of Quentin Tarantino's movies. He's my favorite director, favorite screenwriter. I just think all of his stuff is dope. So when I say ranking from least favorite to favorite, just know that I love all of them, but I had to put them in some kind of an order, okay? Let's say I'm ranking my favorites. All right, so here we go. What justifies a Quentin Tarantino movie? So I chose 10 movies based off of these are the movies he directed. He wrote and directed all of these. Now, there's other movies like From Dusk Till Dawn that he just wrote, maybe had a bit part in it as an actor. There's a few others like that that I did not include in this. I'm just talking about the 10 that he wrote and directed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is as I hold them up, we're going to start with the 10th and then go all the way to my favorite. And I'll just mention a few things about each one and why they're ranked where they're ranked. So we should be able to get through this in about, who knows how long, we'll see. I'm going to start with number 10 of all of my favorite Quentin Tarantino's. This was my least favorite, I guess, and that would be Death Proof. This is Quentin Tarantino's half of the Grindhouse double feature that he did with was it Robert Rodriguez did the one with the girl with the machine gun attached to her leg or something like that. Death Proof, great. Kurt Russell is fantastic in this. He does a magnificent job. And who doesn't like muscle cars just crashing into each other? This movie is engaging. The dialogue is spectacular, and I will tell you this about this movie. It's got two groups of 4 girls that Kurt Russell interacts with in his muscle car. I will tell you that the first group of 4 girls were the more interesting group. I wish we would have just had a movie about those 4. I thought that their scenes were more interesting. I thought that what they were going through in the Mexican restaurant was more interesting. And then I thought what they were going through on the road as they were being hunted by Kurt Russell was more interesting. The next group of 4, I wanted them to die. If I didn't like the personality of anyone, I was happy. I would have been happy had Kurt Russell just drove over the top of all of them. But that was just me. That's just me and my tastes. This is the most Stephen King-esque of the Quentin Tarantino novels. As I was rewatching this, I've watched it a few times, but as I was rewatching it, I was like, God, this could be a Stephen King novel just turned into a movie. So that's it. Death Proof. Number 10, we will put it over here. And then let's go to my number 9. And, well, it should be 8, but it's number 9. My number 9 is The Hateful Eight. Again, Kurt Russell is in this, I believe. Yes, it looks like that's him in it. Yeah, Kurt Russell is in this one again. And there's a lot of people in this. Who else is in this? Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson, Jennifer and Jay Serlet, Walter Coggins, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern. There's a lot of great actors. And then there's a few cameos, surprise cameos from other people. This is a great Western, just a Pulp Fiction-esque Western, a very Elmore Leonard-esque written Western where everything's just grim and dark and bloody and the dialogue is fantastic and the story is unique. It is just absolutely a dynamite, bloody bit of great Western mayhem and fun. The Hateful Eight, about some people stuck in a cabin in a snowstorm and a lot of things that a lot of issues they gotta work through in therapy whilst they're in that cabin together. That is number 9. What is my number 8? That would be Reservoir Dogs. And a lot of you are probably like, oh man, that should be number 1. That's his best movie ever. And I'm like, well, at the time he made it, it really was his best movie ever, because this is the first movie he ever made, Reservoir Dogs. I just rewatched this one too. Oh my God, I forgot how bloody this one was. When Tim Roth is laying in that lake of his own blood for 80% of the movie, I was just like, that's bloody. That's some bloody stuff. And if you've seen the movie, you know that there's even more than that. But this is Quentin Tarantino's first movie. I can tell it was shot with a little bit lower of a budget. The dialogue, though, gosh, you can see Quentin Tarantino's talent for dialogue and scenes where characters are just sitting around talking about nothing, and how you can make characters talking about nothing be filled with drama and intensity and danger and funny and all of that. I mean, his talent is evident right from the jump in this movie. And then just the bloody grimness of the story and the jump back and forth in time that he always uses. It's just absolutely a brilliant show. But it's only my 8th favorite because I think this movie maker got way better. Way better. And this has got an all-star cast too. And you'll notice that Tarantino tends to use a lot of the same actors over and over and over again, which I think is a good and a brilliant strategy. But this has Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, who was also in Hateful Eight, Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Michael Madsen again. I think Michael Madsen's in a lot of... Anyway, that's number 8. Number 7. Number 7 is, gosh, this might be his most recent one, I believe. And that is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. I think Timothy Olyphant is in it, and there's a lot of people in this one. But this is sort of an alternate history. Now, several of the movies on this list, Tarantino does take an alternate path in history. Like, he does an alternate history. Like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is kind of this fairy tale he's built up about Hollywood at the time of the Sharon Tate murders and the Charles Manson thing. And this is where Tarantino sort of plays that whole scenario out in his own way, where things don't always end. In alternate history stories, things don't always end in the story the way they really did in history. And I think it was a good play on that, on the Charles Manson murders. And you just get such a great... I mean, you relate so well to Brad Pitt and the Leonardo DiCaprio's character. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio is the movie star. Brad Pitt is his stuntman. Margot Robbie is going to be one of the victims of Charles Manson. And just the scene that I love the best is when Bruce Lee thinks he's tough and Brad Pitt beats him up. Just because you can know that in any fight, I don't care if you're as skilled as Bruce Lee. If you're all only on 130 pounds, you're gonna get your fucking ass handed to you, no matter how much karate shit you know. And I like the fact that the Brad Pitt points that out in the movie. It was my favorite scene from that movie. Anyway, that is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Great. Now this is going to be, let's see, we're at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6 is Jackie Brown. This is taken directly from the novel Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard. This is Tarantino's favorite author was Elmore Leonard. One of my favorite authors is Elmore Leonard. And because Elmore Leonard's stories are just exactly like Quentin Tarantino stories. So if you love Quentin Tarantino and you want to read him in book form, start collecting the Elmore Leonard books. Elmore Leonard's also known for like Justified with Timothy Olyphant, and a few other things like that. A lot of westerns like 3:10 to Yuma. But Jackie Brown is based off of the book Rum Punch. This is magnificent. This is so magnificent. I can't even describe to you how magnificent it is. Every actor plays every part. I mean, Robert De Niro just plays a side character, but he plays it so perfectly. It's like he's giving it his all. And then Bridget Fonda and Robert De Niro together, along with Samuel L. Jackson. That trio made me laugh every time they were on screen. And then we've got, who else have we got in this? Oh, Pam Grier, who plays the main character, Jackie Brown, just dynamite. And Samuel L. Jackson, of course. Robert Forrester, who plays opposite of Grier, just great. Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, you know, Batman, Michael Keaton, he's in it. He plays a cop. It's just about a bunch of drug dealers and ne'er-do-wells trying to outsmart the cops in a shopping mall, and it's just bloody brilliant. I love everything about this movie. Jackie Brown is number 6. Let's go to the top 5 now. The top 5, we've got Django Unchained, another Western. You know, Tarantino said that he cut his teeth as a youngster, the things that got him interested in movie making were those Clint Eastwood westerns, those spaghetti westerns, the grindhouse movies, the horror movies, those Pulp Fiction-esque westerns. That's what he loved, and this was his sort of nod to those films with Django Unchained, where we've got this escaped slave Django. We've got who else is there's Leonardo DiCaprio is also in this one. So we've got Jamie Foxx playing the escaped slave gunslinger. Christoph Waltz, who's the bounty hunter, does a great job. Christoph Waltz is in a few of the Tarantino movies. So Leonardo DiCaprio, Kerry Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, and a bunch of other people that make cameos that are really brilliant cameos. But this is about an escaped slave off to get in the Old West, traveling back east to the slave plantation to get his revenge. And on the back you can see the gunslinging Jamie Foxx. It's just great. And Leonardo DiCaprio plays a great slave slaveholder, land owner, plantation, mafia don type of person. And Christoph Waltz and Jamie Foxx are two of the great gunslingers of Western movie history. And then the dialogue again. It's great, and the action is bloody and often. A great movie, a great Western. So number 4, let's get to number 4. That would be Inglorious Bastards, the World War II movie that Quentin Tarantino made. And this is another alternate history movie. Like we talked about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood being an alternate history of the Charles Manson thing. This is an alternate history of World War II, wherein Hitler is involved in it, and there may or may not be a different result with what goes on with Hitler. I mean, Hitler. We know how things went for Hitler in World War II. The real story. This is an alternate history story of what might have happened to Hitler. And so the Inglorious Bastards. It also stars Brad Pitt, another one of Quentin Tarantino's regular actors. It's got Christoph Waltz. Okay, Christoph Waltz in this movie is the most evil antagonist. The most evil antagonist in any Tarantino movie is Christoph Waltz. He plays a Nazi SS, just bad guy. And the scenes where Christoph Waltz is interrogating people are some of the most well-written movie scenes you will ever have the pleasure to watch. And the way that Christoph Waltz portrays this guy and delivers this dialogue is absolutely chilling. It's chilling. And that makes the whole movie. You know, a lot of people would say, well, it's Brad Pitt's just general badassery that makes the movie. Yes, that's part of it. And his crew of Inglorious Bastards that are going around hunting Nazis is great. But the Nazi himself, Christoph Waltz, sells this movie, makes this movie intense. And it's basically a revenge tale of Jewish soldiers going about World War II killing Nazis in grand, bloody, beheading, smashing heading, cutting into heading fashion. It's fantastic. Fantastic. It's almost as if Quentin Tarantino was making a movie specifically for me. Number three happens to be Kill Bill 2. Kill Bill 2 is, again, the high point of this is the very end when our main character finally reaches her destination. Because there's a previous, Kill Bill 1 this is 2 movies. Kill Bill 1, Uma Thurman character is on a journey, on a quest to kill Bill. And she doesn't reach Bill until the final act of the final movie here. And that's where it starts to sing. And this is another movie that's got so many great people like Uma Thurman. David Carradine plays Bill, and again, just like Christoph Waltz in Inglorious Bastards, David Carradine gives it his all as Bill, and it's subtle. He plays it so subtle, but so slick and so smooth. It's just like the culmination of these 2 movies comes to that scene, and it's just fantastic. This also has Michael Madsen, Daryl Hannah. There's a lot of people in the Kill Bill franchise. But let's talk about number 2, which is Kill Bill 1. Now this movie, this movie's good, but the first part of the movie is a classic. I mean, the music, the choreography, the characters, the setup that goes on in Kill Bill 1, I think trumps the actual payoff in Kill Bill 2. The setup is just brilliant, where we find out why she is pissed off at everybody and why she is on this revenge tour where her wedding was ruined by Bill and Bill's henchmen, all named after snakes like Black Mamba and Desert Rattlesnake Charmer. I don't know what all the snake names are, but every bad person's named after a snake. And she goes through from the deserts of New Mexico clear to Japan. She hunts these people down to kill them because they ruined her wedding and left her for dead. And in fact, she is left for dead so many times in this book. She just keeps resurrecting herself and coming back to life. And I will tell you, the best scene in this is when the little Asian girl in the schoolgirl outfit with the two, with the swingy weapon ball mace thing comes out and just starts kicking ass, and the music that's playing through every scene in these movies. The music, this is where I really realized how much music and different songs can enhance a scene so much. And it's almost like Quentin Tarantino, of the billions of songs on the planet, he knew the perfect song to play during every single scene in the background that's going on in these Kill Bill movies. The music is so, it's almost like a character in and of itself, along with just all of the dialogue and the bloody violence. These are probably his most over-the-top, sort of cartoonish, violent movies, but it all makes sense and you're laughing your ass off through it. So, number 3 is Kill Bill 2. Number 2 is Kill Bill 1. What, pray tell, is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie? And I've mentioned it several times already when I've used the term Pulp Fiction to describe certain things. But that would be Pulp Fiction is my favorite, and it is such a dynamite. This movie's perfect. Perfect from start to finish. Every spot of dialogue is perfect. Pulp Fiction you can sum up the entirety of all these other movies just by saying they're Pulp Fiction. These movies all are a bit of Pulp Fiction. And Pulp Fiction is just a type of story that is pulpy, it's quick, it's witty, it's fast, the pacing is dynamite, the characters are dynamite and dynamic. Pulp Fiction is just what he's doing. Elmore Leonard's books are all Pulp Fiction, even the Westerns. Pulp Fiction is just it's a storytelling style that Quentin Tarantino has boiled down and encapsulated in all these movies, but none more so than the one actually called Pulp Fiction. And it's just about gangsters, the relationship that gangsters have with gangsters, and the relationship that gangsters have with the world, and the relationship that, and just as Samuel L. Jackson, this has got like Samuel Jackson again, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Uma Thurman, Ving Rhames, Christopher Walken, Rosanna Arquette, Eric Stoltz. I mean, the list goes on and on. Was it Amanda Plummer, Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel? I mean, this is his most action-packed and movie star-packed of all of them. And every actor does such a great job. From the opening scenes with Tim Roth in the restaurant to the scenes between Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta as they drive in their car talking about hamburgers in Europe, to where they get to the crack house and try to collect the money from the drug dealers and look at the brain on Brad, and then the whole reciting of the scriptures and the whole shooting, and then they get the guy in the back of the car and they blow his head off. I'm giving away spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie by now, I don't know what to tell you. It's like Star Wars. Everybody should have seen it by now. So I don't think, but if you haven't seen it, there's a lot going on in this book. And then Bruce Willis's character itself is my favorite. Just, the Gimp. Remember the Gimp? Oh, Lord have mercy. There's so many iconic lines and scenes in this movie that it's so quotable. and it's my favorite. Number 1 Quentin Tarantino movie is the, let's see, what have we got here? Let's open this up and see what kind of things we got. The DVD just fell out. But there's Samuel Jackson. That's not his name. It's not Samuel Jackson. It's Samuel, what the fuck is it? Samuel Jackson. Samuel A. Jackson. What is his name now? I can't figure it out. Samuel L. Jackson. Good fucking hell. I should just give up. In fact, and then we got John Travolta. This is the disc that fell. But anyway, those are my top, well, those are my Tarantino movies ranked right there, guys.